This is Smithy.tv.
Reporting for Katie Chats here at Smithy TV in downtown Toronto. It's our very first interview here at Smithy. We're very excited. I'm here with Bobby Del Rio. Tell me a little bit about your upcoming project, The Market.
Yes, so I'm going to be making my feature film debut as a writer-director. It's an adaptation of a hit play I wrote called The Market. It's about like four 20-something bond traders on Wall Street. It's sort of like a Tarantino version of Wall Street.
Great. And how did the play go when you produced it?
The play was amazing. It was a big hit. We just sold out so many shows, and we did it in an interesting way as well. We did it in an actual corporate office at Jarvis and Adelaide. We didn't use a conventional theater. So I think it just really appealed to them, and they loved the quality of the writing and the performances, and also with the cool venue, it just worked. And we did it 2 years ago, and people still come up to me today and talk about how much they liked it. So.
Do you think doing it in an intimate venue helped you transition it to a screenplay, which is a more intimate medium? Well, debatably.
Yeah. No, that's a really astute comment. I agree with that for sure, because I must have had 50 to 100 people tell me that this should be a movie, and I think part of it is because they sort of felt like they were on a movie set. Because they come on, and it was an office, it wasn't like a theater. So they were already immersed in this environment. It's almost like they were a studio audience on a sitcom, but it's, parts of it are funny, but it's like a pretty intense piece.
Cool. And what is at the core of the story?
The core of the story is about basically how corrupt the people who control our money are. Right, so this specific story focused on these 4 young men, and I did a lot of research on Wall Street specifically, and there are a lot of people who control our money who are just like these guys, right? They're like Ivy League school educated dudes who are really smart but really, really aggressive, and they're in this culture where it's all about greed and competition and destroying everybody else to make as much money as possible. So I just automatically thought that would be a fantastic metaphor for a play and now movie.
And shifting gears a little bit, you're also involved in the REELWORLD Film Festival. How did you get involved in that?
Yes, okay, so this is my 4th year now at REELWORLD as the Canadian Feature Film Programmer. So I pick all the Canadian features, which is a really great job, just as a person, but also as a filmmaker. You get a chance to see fantastic films from all across Canada, and some films that aren't so great. But I think that you, as an artist, you can learn from everything, from people who are sort of operating at the top of their craft to people who are just starting out, and it really, I think, helps you to find where you fit aesthetically in that continuum.
How many films do you think you watch in a year?
Way too many. I watch lots and lots of films. I also solicit a lot of films, so I'm constantly watching films all year. And just for myself, I like to watch films as well. But it's kind of cool to be paid to watch films.
Absolutely. And for people who are interested in the REELWORLD Film Festival, what types of programming can we expect to see there?
Maybe it's because I am a filmmaker myself, but I like very, very different styles. I don't want to be boxed into any sort of preference. It's like I want filmmakers to really test the limits of what they're capable of and what they want to do. I mean, if somebody wants to make a $4 million film or a $50 million film, great. If somebody wants to make a $4 film, if it's got an interesting story and good performances, I'm interested. I also like weird lengths. I mean, sometimes you have a 55-minute film or a 72-minute film, and a lot of festivals wouldn't be interested in something like that. But I think that there's an appetite. I think that if a film is really good, even if it's a different length, what should be of paramount importance is just the film itself.
Great. And what advice would you give to an aspiring filmmaker?
I mean, this is my feature debut, so I'm not like a guru of filmmaking or anything, but like as a playwright, I've accomplished quite a bit, and I have a lot of people asking me, how do I become a writer? And so for me, I think what I always tell people, and I used to teach screenwriting, just write. The most important thing if you want to be a writer is to write, because the audience is going to tell you everything you need to know. So you just keep writing and writing and writing, and eventually you'll figure out how you work. So for me, sort of, I've done some filmmaking, but this is my first sort of big film. I would say just keep making films. It's the same idea, right? Like just keep making them and making them. And you know, I don't know if I think that this film is going to be the greatest film in the history of the century. I mean, maybe it will be. Who knows? Maybe it's my Citizen Kane. But I presume that I'll keep getting better and better and better. So I think that to be a filmmaker, and especially in Canada, you need a sort of ruthlessness, right? It's like, I will make this film at all costs, because it's very, very difficult. There's so many obstacles, but you can't be daunted. You kind of see it for what it is, and you go, I'm gonna do it anyway.
And tell me what it was like working with Drake.
Yes, okay, so I worked with Drake, although he was called Aubrey back then. Although he had like an email address like Drake something at hotmail.com, and I was like, who's Drake? Which is so funny now, because like I think this was a few years ago, and he was a lead on Degrassi, so he was already like doing, you know, quite well for himself. But I made him audition. He was friends with the director, but I was like, no, I want to make sure that he auditions to see that he can act. I don't want it just to be, yeah, I understand he's on Degrassi, but can he act? And he came in and he was amazing. It's like I think he took that as a personal challenge. I think he really appreciated it, because he's a really down-to-earth and ambitious guy. And he came in and had one of the best auditions I've ever seen for any project. Like, he's a very, very good actor. And then it was just so funny though, because, you know, you just get to know him as a person. And then later on we just did this little short film thing together as a favor for somebody else. And then he just blew up, right? It's like I remember he came to set one day, and he was like, oh yeah, I was like, oh, how was your night last night? He's like, yeah, it was cool. Like, I played at Chris Bosh's birthday party. And you were like, what? Why? Like, Chris Bosh was pretty huge at the time. It's like, why were you at his birthday party? And what do you mean you were playing? Like, and so he had been, I guess, developing this like following musically. You know, part of me was like, okay, well, you know, good luck with that. And I guess he didn't need it, because obviously he's like world famous now.
He's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
And where's the best place to find out more information on the market and Real World Film Festival and your other projects online?
I want to say my website, bobbydelrio.com, but the truth is, like, we live in such a like integrated, like saturated media world now that, you know, if you Google me, like, it's gonna come up. We're on Twitter and we're on Facebook, and there's a website, and you know, you just Google my name, it'll come up. But we definitely have a Facebook page and we have a Twitter account.
Okay. Thank you so much. Congratulations on all of your success, and best of luck with your upcoming projects.
And you too. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm Katie Ullman, reporting for Katie Chats here at Smithy TV in downtown Toronto.